This homemade sofrito recipe is a vibrant blend of peppers, onions, garlic, cilantro, and recao or culantro. And you can use it as a base to give your stews, soups, rice, beans, or marinades a delicious flavor and aroma. You can find the link for the recipe in the description box or by visiting sweetysalado.com/en. To make the sofrito, we need different kinds of peppers, starting with ajís dulces. Ajís dulces are very small sweet peppers you can find in the Caribbean, not so much in the US. But you can substitute them with these mini sweet peppers, which you can find at most grocery stores. We're also going to use a green bell pepper, a red bell pepper, a white onion, a yellow onion for sweetness, and lots of garlic. I love to use about 2 heads of garlic, which are about 22 to 24 garlic cloves. The herbs that we're going to use are cilantro. I'm using the stems where you will find the most concentrated flavor, and recao or culantro. Recao is actually considered a weed here in the US, but we use it in a lot of Latin American dishes. It's very similar to cilantro. If I were to describe it, I would say it's a combination of cilantro and parsley, and it's not very easy to find here in the US. You may try some Latin or Asian grocery stores, but if you can't find it, you can substitute it with more cilantro. And finally, I like to add a little bit of oil because it binds all of the ingredients together, but this is completely optional. The first step is to rinse and pat dry all of the mini peppers, and we're also going to remove all of their seeds. Once the seeds are removed, we're just going to roughly chop them into large pieces. We're going to do the same thing with the bell peppers. We're going to rinse them in cold water, pat them dry with a paper towel, remove the seeds, and then chop them into large pieces. We're going to peel the onions, cut the ends, and roughly chop them. And we're going to do the same with the garlic cloves if they're not peeled already. And finally, we're going to do the same thing with the cilantro and recao. We need to rinse them very well, and then we're going to roughly chop them. To blend the sofrito, we're going to use a food processor or blender, and we're going to blend all of the ingredients in batches. And one thing that I'd like to recommend is that you pulse your food processor or blender, because I have found that when you blend at one speed, your sofrito becomes really watery. We're going to stop blending halfway, and then with a spatula, we're going to push and stir all of the ingredients to make sure that everything gets well blended. And if you're like me and you like to add oil to your sofrito, you can add it with one of the batches as well. Once we're done blending all of the ingredients for the sofrito, we're going to pour them into a large bowl, and then we're going to stir them really well with a spatula. We can store the sofrito inside an airtight container or sealed mason jar, and this way it's going to last about 2 weeks in the refrigerator. Now make sure that your container is sealed properly, because otherwise your fridge is going to smell like sofrito for days. Another way we can store the sofrito is by using an ice cube tray. This way we can store the frozen cubes inside a freezer bag for up to 6 months. And each cube is going to hold about 2 to 3 tablespoons of sofrito, which you can use in any of your recipes as needed.